In the still of the night, I think of you. My heart beats with every thought of you. You're the one I can't let go.
As soon as they left, she returned to her bedroom to change out of the clothes she was wearing because it was all squeezed up. She walked into her closet looking through the clothes. She wanted to wear something that would not be suggestive, something businesslike, and at the same time, she wanted to look beautiful and dazzle him. I am not dressing up for him, she told herself firmly. She stood in front of her mirror and nodded with satisfaction at her overall look. Then she knelt down and prayed for God to soften Uche's heart. She took another look at herself in the mirror and left. For a few minutes, she just sat in her car and watched her house with deep emotions. This was her house. All her memories from childhood to adulthood, the good, happy, and sad ones were rooted in it. I can't lose this house, she muttered. With that, she started the car and reversed smoothly into the road. Where would Uche be now, she asked herself when it dawned on her that she didn't know where exactly to look for him. If she was lucky, she would catch him at home, but she thought better of it for so many reasons. She didn't want to face that wicked housekeeper again. And just for today, she did not want to be reminded of his betrayal. She could call his phone, but what if he rejected her? She decided to go to the famous Oka House. She had never been to his workplace before, but she was sure she wouldn't have any difficulty locating it. The place happened to be popular, and some have turned it into a tourist center because of the famous sculpture in front of the building. Oka House was a glass splendid beauty, one of the tallest buildings in the area and the most expensively built. As she drove through the gates, she understood why tourists couldn't resist crowding the area and taking pictures. They should have called it Oka Glass Palace, she mused. The word house seemed such a boring name for a building as magnificent as this. She drove till she got to the building and lost her breath. It was not the beautiful exotic flowers that softened the otherwise hard features of the building that caught her eyes. The culprit sat in the middle of the vast compound just before the entrance to the building. It was a large fountain. It was not really the size of it that made it spectacular, but the statues around it. Mma stood there gazing with her mouth agape. The click of camera brought her back to reality and she straightened her shoulders. She turned and found out that she wasn't the only one looking. No matter what race you are from, we all draw from one supreme source, God. She smiled with appreciation for the art. Then she remembered her mission and whirled around, walking briskly to the gates that secured the building, barring tourists from gaining entrance. It was a bit difficult getting the security men at the gate leading to the building to let her in. Not until she told them she was Uche's fiancée, Mma. As she walked into the building, she scolded herself for forgetting her mission for a moment. Though she couldn't deny the art was wonderful, and it relaxed her anxious and restive mind. She stopped in front of a smart-looking receptionist. The whole reception looked like that of a five-star hotel, friendly and inviting. "Good morning," the girl greeted eagerly with smiles. "Good morning," Mma responded. "I take it you are looking for Mr. Oka," said the girl jovially. A surprised Mma responded. "How did you know?" "I know you. All my clothes are Mma, and I see you most times when I come to shop." Mma recognized her design. "It's nice to meet someone who appreciates what I do. You look different. Who said African priests are just for boo-boos?" "What floor is Mr. Oka on?" "Penthouse." "Thank you." Mma began to leave. "So when is the wedding?" the girl asked, smiling. Slowly, Mma turned around and walked back to the girl. "How did you know about the wedding?" Their engagement hadn't gotten out to the public before their breakup, and for that she had been very grateful. The girl smiled and reduced her voice. "I am dating his best friend, Stanley." Mma stared at the girl dumbfounded, trying hard to hide her shock. She had pegged Stanley as the kind of man who would date some sophisticated executive, a top actress or model. "I have shocked you. And don't worry, I am about the only staff who knows." Not for long, thought Mma. The girl was a talkative. This kind could tell her life history without being asked. She hoped Stanley didn't confide in her. "What's your name?" "Ijeoma, but call me IJ. When next you come to shop, Please take some time to say hi. It was refreshing talking to you. That I would do. And Umma walked away towards the elevator, wondering what next she would see. First, a magnificent art, a happy parrot of a girl. What next? She asked as the elevator glided up. The door opened and she stepped into a Spartan marble hallway. There were some green plants. She was sure it was somebody's efforts to make the place look more friendly. She tried not to make noise with her heels. She was beginning to understand the class of man she was going to marry. The hallway led straight to an office, and she entered and met the icy glare of a woman sitting behind a glass desk. "Good morning. I would like to see Uche, please." She thought she would miss her. It would have saved her the hassle of no appointment. "Uche?" the woman asked, raising one well-manicured eyebrow. "Mr. Okoha," Mma repeated, realizing her mistake. "Do you have an appointment?" the woman asked, looking at her as she would an irritating housefly. "No, but if you would tell him Mma is here to see him, I am sure he would see me. I am sorry, but you need an appointment. Just fill out this form, and I'll see when it is likely for him to see you." Mma stared at the woman furiously. She had never felt this insulted, especially by a mere look. Just with one look, the woman implied she was one of those girls who had nothing better to do than to run after rich men. She sighed. She was probably right. After all, it was Uche's money that brought her there. "Please just tell him I'm here. I am very sure he would see me once he finds out I'm the one," she told the woman politely. She thought of calling Uche's mobile phone, but she was scared he wouldn't pick. It was better to barge in on him. "Mr. Okoha is fully booked. Too busy to attend to you." Mma smiled. She was determined to see Uche, even if she was going to push her way through. "What about Star? May I see her instead?" "You also need an appointment to do so." Mma smiled again to cover her anger. "Please, just let Star know I am here." She would clear away this confusion. She couldn't believe it. Was this still the same Uche she saw whenever she wanted? The same man who came to her office and home and doted on her like she was the center of his world? How ironic could life become? She saw the woman pick up her intercom and spoke into it. She looked up and Mma turned to her. "What did you say your name was?" "Mma." Just then Star came out smiling. "Oh Mma, please do forgive Beth. She has no idea who you are and is just doing her job." She turned to Beth. "This is Uche's fiancé in case of next time." Mma saw the woman's shocked expression. "I am very sorry, ma'am. I had no idea. Please follow me." Beth got to her feet. Mma turned to Star. "Thank you. You are here to surprise him?" "Kind of. That's a relief. Maybe your presence will make him less formidable today." Star went back to her office. Mma hesitated just for a few seconds before walking into the lion's den. She saw Uche sitting behind his massive desk, relaxed and tapping the end of a gold pen on his massive oak table. The office was big enough to take her whole house. The interior decorator must have been going through some gender problem, because it was all male and exuded the power the owner wields. It dawned on Mma that this man would never become as desperate as she was then, and it was so unfair. Well, to what do I owe this good fortune?" His voice caught into her thoughts. "To whomever you owe all your good fortune." He sat up and looked at her seriously. "If you have nothing but sarcasm, then I would go back to my work. Like Beth must have told you, I have a busy day." "I have," she trailed off. He looked up shocked for a moment. "What? The cat got your tongue?" Mma was at the brink of tears. Here she was in the same room with the man she would gladly die for, and they had nothing but sarcasm for each other. "You now have my attention. What is it that has got your tongue in chains?" Calm down, she told herself. "Won't you at least ask me to sit down? I didn't realize you needed asking. I guess when you get tired of tempting me with your beautiful body, you would sit down and tell me what kind of devil chased you into my arms." Mma sat down abruptly, seething as she tried to keep herself from retorting. "So what is it?" Uche asked with genuine curiosity. Mma became confused. She didn't know where to begin. or how to tell him that the only reason she came was for his money, after all that had happened between them. "I am waiting," said Uche. She was totally confused. She felt like running away, but that would worsen the whole situation. Somehow she knew he would follow her. Her presence had raised his curiosity. She sighed inwardly. This was a lot harder than she thought. "I am still waiting," Uche said quietly, cutting into her thoughts. She took a deep breath to calm down her nervousness and turned to him with pleading eyes. "I am in trouble," she said to him. It took him a while to reply. What kind of trouble? She was in trouble, he thought calmly. Well, he had been expecting that after seeing her with the rasta she was having lunch with. "Uche, please. If I had a choice, I wouldn't be here. I need financial help." She saw him visibly relieved. He stood up from his chair and walked over to her and sat down. "Does this have anything to do with the rasta I saw you with?" "No, of course not." And then it dawned on her. Could it be Mike? He was nowhere near her phone or bag when they went out. And even if he did somehow get her bank details, there was no way he could have siphoned all the money in her account within minutes. Or was there? She didn't know what to believe, so she let it rest to concentrate on the matter at hand. "I don't know where to start. I don't even know how to tell you. I would suggest you start from the beginning." Mma heaved a sigh and looked at him. She could feel the concern in his voice and eyes. Surely that was a sign, she thought. She saw a ray of hope at last. And that gave her courage to tell him the whole story. As she explained everything to him, she watched him critically, trying to decipher his feelings, but couldn't because he schooled his expression. "Uche, you have to help me. You are my only hope." "Which bank is that?" "United Bank." "United Bank? A pretty good bank. What are they doing about it?" "They have launched an investigation." He simply nodded. "Same bank Ken works with?" "You don't think Ken will stoop this low?" "I had him changed as my account officer when you suggested it." He nodded again. "When is the exhibition?" "Saturday." "So near," he mused. "And by the next one you would be homeless?" "Yes," Mma nodded, waiting for him to say how he would help her. She watched him with apprehension as he stood up and walked to the window, backing her. "Even though this is very sudden," he said after several minutes of silence. She guessed he was trying to make up his mind. "I can help you." Mma sighed with relief. "Thank you. Thank you so much. I promise I will pay back every last kobo." He turned away from the window and came towards her. "I didn't say I would help. I said I could." He smiled at her. Mma's words died on her lips, and she watched with confusion and felt the chill as it began to creep up her spine. His revenge? She thought fearfully. "What do you mean?" "I don't understand. I stand in a very good position to help you, and I can. But the question is, will you be willing to leave a collateral for the loan I'll be willing to give you?" "Uche, I told you I don't have one. If I had one, do you think I would be here with my tails hanging between my legs?" "Then, will you be willing to accept the proposal I'm going to give you to make sure I get back what I'm giving out?" "What kind of proposal?" Her heart was beating hard in her chest. She didn't understand what was going on. Could this ruthless man here be the same man who courted her with so much love? How desperate are you, Umma? "I need help, Uche, but I won't break my vow because of my problems." What was happening here, she asked silently in panic. Her fear grew without caution. Would he ask her to sleep with him before he would help her? Uche would never stoop that low, she thought, but somehow the thought had taken hold in her mind and her fear grew. She was not scared of what she would do if he asked. She knew she would never give in no matter what, but she was scared of what would happen to the respect and trust she had for him. She knew she would hate him, and she was scared of that happening, very scared. Then we understand each other. I can help you, but I don't want to make a mistake again. So that is, I was the one who made a mistake in trusting you. Her outburst interrupted him. She was fuming inside. How could he imply that she was the one responsible for their breakup when he was the one who couldn't be trusted? And here he was, about to do something worse than betrayal, something she was very afraid she was never going to forgive him for. Somehow she wanted to save them both from that happening. She wanted to leave, but his next word stopped her. I will give you all the help you need if you will agree to be my wife. To be your what? Mama asked, alarmed. She could feel relief as it flooded back into her body. That he didn't ask what she was thinking. Still, what he asked was totally absurd. You heard me well. To be my wife. I can't believe this. Look, Uchi, if this is a joke, it is not funny. I mean, Ma, you would agree with me that the amount I'll be giving you is much. And with that collateral, it is a risk. Besides, you need my help. You can't afford to say no. Ma opened her mouth to say something, but closed it again. She couldn't find the appropriate words. She couldn't believe his audacity. What kind of a monster was he? She asked herself. Was he so shameless? Uchi, you don't want to help me? Fine. I am sorry I disturbed you in the first place. I was a fool to come here, she said, calmly hanging her shoulder back to go. Now, if you are going to agree, I'm giving you now. Because the moment you walk out of that door, the proposal doesn't stand anymore. Whatever gave you the idea I would want to marry a monster like you? Think about it. I am your last hope. You said so yourself. I wonder why the idea of marrying me now repulses you. You were going to marry me before. In fact, you couldn't wait to marry me. All because I thought you were different. I didn't know that all those nice behavior was a facade to cover your real self. And I've been thanking God ever since for opening my eyes sooner. Still, you are the one with problems, and I have given you my terms. Take it or leave it. And remember, the moment you walk out of here without making a choice, the deal stands no more. He said, going to sit down behind his powerful desk, like he didn't just turn her world upside down. Mama watched him sit down behind his desk and blinked back the tears that were trying hard to escape. Then probably was the best time to go to her mother, a woman whose only interest in her then could be because she was engaged to Uche. Was that not what Angela said to her? That Amber herself had been after Uche for a long time. Then she understood the major reason she didn't want to associate with Amber. It was because of Uche. Somehow in her subconscious, she was jealous of Amber and possessive of Uche. Looking so much alike, Amber was her only true competition for Uche's affection. With that thought, she turned to face Uche. Just agree to marry him. After all, there are no witnesses. Even if there were, you stand under no obligation to marry him. But just say yes to get the help from him, her mind told her. Mama thought about it. Knowing Uche as she did, he would make sure she went through with it. But he wouldn't force you, would he? Her mind asked. No, he wouldn't. But my conscience will suffer. Why think of conscience when the man you are dealing with lacked it? Without deliberating again, she made up her mind. It would be marvelous when she would say no to his proposal after he must have fulfilled his own part of the deal. Slowly she went and sat in front of him. I hate you so much right now. But yes, I would marry you because I'm desperate. Wise choice. Was it? Or was it because she was so scared of creating an opening for Amber? I have one question though, she said, and he looked at her. Fair enough. Why are you resorting to blackmail? Is that how bad you want my body? He laughed and looked at her mockingly. There is nothing about your body that I haven't seen before. I am Uche Oka, so I have seen it all. More beautiful and more willing women.
In the still of the night, I think of you. My heart beats with every thought of you. You're the one I can't let go. In your your arms I find my home. Love, sweet love.